Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, October 2, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see that their latest update that just came out at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:45 p.m. Jamaica time, shows that we still have a cold yellow right here. Well, we have a brand new cold yellow, as a matter of fact, right here across the northern Bahamas that's expected to bring some rainfall into portions of Florida. And we're still watching that cold yellow across the main development region that still has a low chance of development within the next 7 days as it pushes off towards the west. And if we take a look at the infrared right now, we can see some moisture right here across the northern Bahamas, but nothing organized right now. We can see a tropical wave right here across the waters of the main development region, but it has nothing to do with the tropical wave that has a chance of development. The tropical wave is still across Africa as we speak, and we can see a lot of moisture associated with the intertropical convergence zone across the southern portion of the main development region. If we read what the Hurricane Center has stated regarding this one right here, they're saying a tropical wave is expected to come off the coast of Africa over the next day or two. Thereafter, this wave is forecast to interact with another disturbance in the eastern tropical Atlantic, and some slow development of the combined feature is possible as the system moves westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And we see that they've given the area a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at what the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are showing regarding the entity, this is where the Euro has it by around 12Z on Thursday, October 9th. So that's about 7 a.m. on Thursday. That's next week, Thursday. Coming into portion of the Eastern Caribbean, we see the isobars, we see the moisture with the heavy rainfall to the east of the Caribbean. What does the GFS show? Do we have agreement? Well, we do have agreement that yes, it's gonna be developing, but the GFS is a bit more, slower than what the Euro was showing, and a bit more to the east of where it is, even slightly a bit weaker. We see some moisture right here associated with it. Very interesting. We'll see how it actually plays out. And I thought that I'd show a little of what the Euro was showing today. It showed a very interesting run. Look at what it does. So here we have this system right here by 1 a.m. on Thursday, and as we go out in time, we see it develops and pushes right here just to the east of Puerto Rico, then pushes all the way to the northwest. Then look at that, it starts to make a southwestward turn into Hispaniola and then all the way back into Jamaica. I thought that this run was so funny, especially considering that it came from the Euro and not the GFS. It's usually the GFS that shows some crazy runs like this. I mean, look at that. That's a crazy run. It took a southwest turn into the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and then it came out of the Haiti side and then started to redevelop. We saw a 975 millibar kind of thing, then 970, so it looks like it was increasing in intensity, and then it started to hit Jamaica for sure by around 6Z on Wednesday, October 15th. Now we know that this is definitely not going to be happening. We know that by tomorrow it is showing something completely different. And more than likely, if anything, it's going to be taking a track. If it's not going to be affecting the Eastern Caribbean, it's definitely going to be taking a track more so to the north of the Hispaniola area. So it's definitely not going to be making it to the Jamaica area at all. Well, as of right now, that's what it is really looking like. So this run from the Euro, definitely not going to be happening at all. But I thought that it was quite hilarious to show. So I don't want anyone to think that there's going to be a hurricane coming by mid-month at all. But the tropical wave definitely bears watching. We know that these things can definitely change. Sometimes the models are showing that it's going to be going north and then it goes more west than north. So we definitely have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Regarding tropical storm that was Hurricane Imelda, we can see Bermuda right here. They definitely got a lashing over the past 24 hours. And we see how quickly Imelda has been pushing out of there, weakening as well. As of right now, it has been downgraded back to a post-tropical cyclone. So it's no longer tropical at this time. Definitely lost those tropical characteristics, even although it's still packing some tropical storm force winds in the gold and even some hurricane force winds in the brown. So it is still a hurricane, but it is post-tropical, so no longer has the tropical characteristics, but it is packing 75-mile-per-hour winds. And we know that systems that pack anywhere from 74 to 95-mile-per-hour winds are classified as category 1 hurricanes. It's still a low-end category 1, moving towards the east-northeast at 29 miles per hour. We see how quickly it's moving, so fast, and it's expected to downgrade back to a tropical storm by Friday morning, and then maintain that tropical storm status all the way into the northern portion of North Atlantic. So definitely gonna be more than likely the last post here from the Hurricane Center regarding this system, considering that it is now post-tropical, so it's no longer tropical with those tropical characteristics. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, there's actually a frontal system attached to Imelda right in here, stretching some clouds down into portions of the waters to the east of the Bahamas, just to the north of the Caribbean. A tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. Some troughs right here to the east of that tropical wave. Another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Island. And we still have that tropical wave in association with the monsoon trough across Africa that's expected to come off of Africa within the next couple of days. And we know all of these entities are being steered from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, we can see the clouds associated with that frontal system that is attached to Imelda right in here as Imelda quickly pushes off towards the east-northeast. You can see the clouds right here extending into even portions of the Bahamas, and this is what's going to be possibly developing as it pushes across Florida and brings some amount of rainfall to the Florida area and then pushes off into the northeastern Gulf. You can also see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave to the east of the Caribbean. We can also see the clouds associated with the troughings, the trophic clouds right here to the east of that tropical wave, and the other tropical wave that's somewhere in here, if I'm remembering right for sure. Let's see. Yeah, there's a tropical wave just to the west of there, as a matter of fact. So it's not in here, it's definitely over here. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, October 2, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes on Thursday afternoon. I know that eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 5:05 p.m, the visible and the infrared satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see the clouds that brought some overcast skies, if not some isolated thundershower activity across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes for sure. So we're talking about section of northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, sections of western Portland, sections of southern St. Mary. We also had the thunderstorm activity across sections of Trelawney into St. James. So too sections of Hanover into eastern Westmoreland, section of central to northern St. Elizabeth as well. And even by the time that this was posted, we were still getting some thunderstorm activity affecting section of Trelawney and St. Anne as well. And if we take a look at the visible, we can make out all of what took place. So first of all, the thunderstorms across northern St. Andrew, southern St. Mary, northern St. Catherine. Then we had the thunderstorms across Hanover into Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, St. James, Trelawney. Then when this started to die down, most of the thunderstorms are concentrated across Trelawney into St. Anne, western St. Anne. And then we started to see most of the activity starting to dissipate as we lost the sunlight. And we can see the infrared right here confirming all of this. And no matter of fact, the infrared is showing some isolated thunder showers just to the southwest of northwestern St. Elizabeth, right here out to sea. You can see some isolated thunder showers to the north of Hanover, right in here. Can you see the lightning out to sea, Ryan? Let me know. And if we take a look at the infrared that took place, we saw the rain bands across northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, intersection of western Portland, St. Mary at first. And then just like the infrared showed, into Westmoreland, into the Cockpit Country, St. James, into Hanover, Trelawney, into St. Anne right there. And then even up to this point, we just saw the latest right here. The waters to the southwest of northwestern St. Elizabeth and to the north of Hanover for sure. We're going to be looking at what's taking place right now shortly. But before we do that, we need to take a look at what was taking place across the halfway tree area this afternoon. This was at about 12:51 p.m. and we can see that it was definitely sunny in the halfway tree area. A lot of people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place at that time. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what is usually taking place here, you can visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming where we had that rainfall today, mainly across sections of some central and western parishes, with the brunt of the thunderstorms across sections of the north coast for sure. And we have just two comments confirming what the weather was like in some of our followers' areas. We have Paulette Stevens stating St. Catherine, no rain today, only overcast. And we have Naiki Ben stating raining in Maypen, Clarendon. Thank you all for confirming what the weather was like in your area today. Alright, so we're about to reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 23:55 UTC, which is actually 6:55 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:06 p.m. right now. And as you can see, still have those clouds to the north of Hanover, still have those clouds to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. Do we actually have rainfall underneath these? Let us see the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery. There we go. Some greens that represent some light to moderate rainfall right here across the waters to the north of Hanover, some of it even across coastal Hanover. We also see the rainfall to the south of Westmoreland, to the southwest of St. Elizabeth right here. Very interesting. They're definitely getting on some light rainfall out to sea, if not across southwestern St. Elizabeth as we speak. And the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery is confirming the rainfall out west as well. The rainfall to the north of Hanover, the rainfall to the south of Westmoreland, we can see right there as of the latest, which is showing 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time. So we know that just came out 7 minutes ago, very updated this evening. Glad to see that. Regarding the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, we're not really seeing much of anything across the western peninsula of Haiti. I have a little glitch right here on the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, but we saw where we had some rainfall across portion of southeastern Cuba today though. Hold on, nope, not today. I think it really glitched out for real. It's done, because looking at the time, they're showing 9:30 2025. So I guess it glitched out on the last day of September. I knew it was looking fishy, because I definitely saw that little glitch at the end yesterday for sure. So I guess it glitched out. Alright, no problem. Regarding the Cayman radar, you know this is always up and running. We're actually seeing some rainfall across central Cuba. We're actually also seeing the rainfall that we just saw on the Doppler radar imagery to the north of Hanover, to the south of Westmoreland, across section of St. Elizabeth as well. And we even see some moderate, some heavy rain bands right here to the south of the Cayman Islands. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the panoramic view looking towards halfway tree and New Kingston. You can see all of the pretty lights, just to highlight that this is definitely a clear night. Nothing to do with rainfall or bad weather taking place at this time. And that should be the order of the night for Thursday. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for AT&T on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows and some grays that represents average to at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperature. I know the average temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 degrees Celsius to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And we're grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we usually have to highlight these because we know that when we're power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories for Jamaica on Friday. And if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we see the dry air extending from Africa across portions of the main development region into the northern portion of North Atlantic. And we don't want the dry air at all because we know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But what we're liking that we're seeing is a lot of moist air across the intertropical convergent zone, the western main development region into the Caribbean, the Gulf, the southwestern Atlantic, and the waters in and around Central America. A lot of moist air in the blues, because you notice wherever we have the moist air, that's where we have most of the clouds and the grays. And wherever we have the clouds, that's where you know we're getting some rainfall. And we know the rainfall brings us the cooler temperatures as well as keeps water in our pipes, and that's definitely what we want. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so we're heading into October 3, October 4, and October 5. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear for the next 3 days. So too most of the Eastern Caribbean, even though we have just a slight plume of Saharan dust coming through right here into the Leeward Islands over the next 3 days, right in here pushing towards Puerto Rico. But that won't even be noticeable at all to bring us very hazy skies or anything like that, or any respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in anyone. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that the waves have still been churned up from what Imelda and Humberto did, because tomorrow the waves are still churned up for sure across the waters to the northeast of the Bahamas, to the east of the US, to the north of the northeastern Caribbean. Look at the purples into the burgundies into the oranges. That's 2 all the way to maybe 6 or more meter wave heights. While the Caribbean shaded in the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues, we're talking about 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And that's because of the easterly winds averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots at most, while the waves are high wherever we have the strongest winds coming in from the north or the northeast or the east northeast, averaging anywhere from 20 to 25, maybe even up to 30 knot winds. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland up to 0.6 of a meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne 0.4 of a meter wave height, to the north of Hanover 0.3 of a meter wave height, to the south of Westmoreland 0.5 of a meter wave height, to the south of Clarendon 0.5 of a meter wave height, to the south of St. Thomas we have 0.7 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly flow across the island tomorrow, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots, I'm sure. So to the north of Trelawney 7 knots, to the south of St. Thomas 9 knots, to the south of Manchester 8 knots. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up. Wherever we have the least amount of winds across the island, that is where we could have some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds when we have that daytime heating. So look out for that daytime heating if you're in those central and western parishes. And the upper-level wind shear is still coming in from the northeast tomorrow, so more of this is definitely expected. When we get the thunderstorms to form across central western parishes tomorrow, those cloud tops will be sheared off towards the southwest, definitely bringing more overcast skies towards those parishes for sure, some southern parishes. But regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? We're seeing the blues represent rainfall across mainly central and western parishes for sure. And the GFS even showing some deeper rainfall, some higher signal for rainfall across section of St. Elizabeth into Manchester. So we're talking about some rainfall for sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, sections of Southern St. Mary, sections of Southwestern Portland, Northwestern St. Thomas, St. Andrew, Kingston, Northern St. Catherine, Northern Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. Definitely going to be getting some amount of rainfall on a Friday afternoon. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with that forecast. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that it should be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Both maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. And we see the Euro going up to at least 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.54 of an inch of rainfall. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of October. And in Clarendon, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive around 179 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about 7 inches of rainfall. While in St. Anne, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive 176 millimeters of rainfall. That's about the same as 6.9 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Friday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Saturday, and it's 12 on Saturday, as you know, is about 7 a.m. We actually see some moisture surrounding the island. We also see the moisture associated with that code yellow affecting the northern Bahamas, eastern Florida into the Gulf. Very interesting. And then on Saturday afternoon, looks like some isolated showers across sections of some central and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, not much of anything for Jamaica. Saturday afternoon, we're seeing some isolated showers mainly across sections of some central and western parishes as well. What do we see on Sunday morning on the Euro? Not really much of anything across Jamaica. On Sunday afternoon, we see some rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes though. What do we see on the GFS? Sunday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Then on Sunday afternoon, it looks like eastern, northern, and western parishes with some rainfall. What do we see on Monday morning? Not really much of anything on Monday morning on the Euro. Then on Monday afternoon, it looks like some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Monday morning, not really much of anything. Monday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, we see some moisture to the south of us across the north coast as well. Then on Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning? On Wednesday morning, we see moisture to the west of us, to the north of us, to the south of us. Then on Wednesday afternoon, it looks like that moisture should be across sections of some eastern, northern, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Wednesday morning, rainfall across some southern and eastern parishes. Wednesday afternoon, looks like some rainfall across some eastern, northern, and western parishes. Then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. So this is valid for Thursday, October 9. We're seeing some moisture across the waters to the south of us. And we're also seeing some moisture across the far eastern end of the island. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday, October 9 as well. Some moisture across some southern and eastern parishes too. Very interesting. And we also see the systems that we mentioned. Well, the system that we mentioned, that's that tropical wave that has a low chance of becoming the next name on the list. We see it about to affect the Eastern Caribbean by Thursday, October 9 on the Euro. It's a bit to the east of where the Euro has the tier on the GFS. Alright, so regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Thursday, October 9. And we see all of the dark reds into the purples and the pinks across northern South America into Central America, and so too the waters of the Bahamas into Florida. Those areas could get in on anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall, like what we see here on the key on the right. And we also see the other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. That's up to an inch of rainfall or less for those areas, the Greater Antilles into the Lesser Antilles. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with that forecast. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Thursday, October 9. And we're seeing Jamaica shaded in the blues into the greens into the yellows that represents anywhere from at least 10 millimeters of rainfall all the way up into maybe 40 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS a bit more robust, especially with that rainfall on the north coast. We'll see how it actually plays out. We see that every day changes for sure. Yesterday we saw a lot of oranges across the west. We'll see how it plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs if God spares life. Alright, so regarding what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean, not really much. We do have a lot of moisture passing to the south of Jamaica though, towards Nicaragua, into Honduras as well. We see the moisture associated with that frontal system extending down to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. Some of the moisture still lashing portions of the Bahamas. Tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean into tropical convergence zone, definitely lit up with a lot of moisture. A lot of troughs right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery near Puerto Rico, what's taking place down there, we can see some moisture in and around the Leeward Islands right in here, in and around St. Kitts and Nevis, Guadeloupe. Not really much of anything elsewhere, but if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where the British Virgin Islands got on some moisture, so too section of central to western Puerto Rico. And regarding where the Barbados radar, what the Barbados radar is showing, we see some moisture to the south of Barbados, right here just to the northeast of Tobago, to the east of Grenada. Not really much of anything significant taking place at this time. We see some moisture right here to the south of Martinique as well. Regarding the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see that moisture that we saw on the Cayman radar cross section of Cuba. Some moisture to the east of Nicaragua pushing towards the west, like what we saw on the visible right now. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that there should be some amount of rainfall. We're talking about from now anywhere, from now up until 10 p.m. on a Friday. And we see the greens into the yellows into the oranges, and the reds represents an inch of rainfall or less for portions of the Bahamas into Florida, so too Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, section of Puerto Rico, anywhere from Antigua and Barbuda southward, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. Some rainfall into Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan getting us some of that. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so what's taking place across the Eastern Pacific? We're still watching Tropical Storm Octave right here, and to the east of Octave, we have a tropical wave that has a high chance of becoming the next named system. If we take a look at the infrared of the Eastern Pacific, let's find the Eastern Pacific. And the Eastern Pacific should be right here. Here we go. So here's the Eastern Pacific. We can see Tropical Storm Octave right in here. A lot of thunderstorms associated with the system. Not really looking that impressive right now. And to the east of Octave, we had that area that could become the next name on the list. A lot of moisture right here to the south of Mexico. Interesting. And we know the next name after Octave. Hold on, let me find the Eastern Pacific names. Here we go. After Octave, the next name on the list is Priscilla. So let's see if this era acquires the name Priscilla over there. But regarding Octave, we see that it is now packing 60 mile per hour winds. So it's definitely up there in tropical storm status, medium range tropical storm at that. We know that tropical storms usually pack anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour winds. So it's not closer to depression status or hurricane status. Smack dab in the middle of tropical storm status, and should maintain that tropical storm status as it continues to push out towards west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. Then it could make a U-turn. Look at that. Going west-northwest, then possibly moving northeast, then towards the east. Interesting. We'll see how it plays out. And regarding what's happening on the Western Pacific side of things, we were watching a code yellow right here to the west of India. that became a code orange. Now it's a code red. So could we get another tropical cyclone? If you remember, we also have another tropical cyclone that pushed inland into eastern India over the past 24 hours. And we also have that other tropical storm that was to the east of the Philippines. Now tropical storm Matmo. Interesting. You can see it right here on the infrared. A lot of cloud showers and thunderstorms pushing into the Philippines as we speak, associated with that one. But regarding the tropical cyclone right here that pushed into India, I'm sure they're definitely getting some heavy rainfall, a lot of flooding as we speak right now over there. Pretty sure that tomorrow we're going to be having some footage coming out of that country. And as you can see here, it is now packing 35 knot winds. We know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's a low-end tropical storm, definitely losing that intensity considering that it is across land right now. So as it pushes inland to the northwest, should be back to 30 knots and then possibly, deteriorating or, disintegrating, decreasing in intensity in general. Regarding tropical storm Matmo, we see a lot of the moisture right here pushing into the mainland of the Philippines right in here, as it is expected to continue moving towards the west-northwest. We see the intensity going up 55, 50, 55, more than likely 50 knots when it's overland. Then back up to 65, 75 knot wind. That's representing category 1 status when it is crossing the sea between the Philippines and southwestern China towards Vietnam right in here. Very interesting. So I guess they're going to be in for another system. I mean, if you remember, it was just like a week or two ago that this very area got in on another typhoon. So it looks like it's a quite active time period for them. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.